Hello. Yes. So, why do I like the Wheel of Time? Kind of cliche, I think, at this point, but I do think that the world building and the magic system that Robert Jordan puts together is bar none. It's hands down the best of the genre. Um, the and the depth of the world building, not just in like how expansive it is or how massive, but how deep the cultures are, um, to the idioms, their sayings, their religion, the way they date each other. It just is it's super immersive, and it you just live in it when you're in the books, and it feels really good and it's really sweet. And how that ties into um, the metaphysics of it and the magic system. So there is a reincarnation element to the whole series. The Wheel of Time is not just it is a both a saying or a metaphor for people for how they talk about time and how they talk about reality, but it's also a literal wheel, and it's a spinning wheel that spins people are threads, and then their threads are woven together into this fabric of reality, which has a pattern on it that repeats itself, and as the pattern repeats, the threads, the people are woven in and out of each other, and those same threads appear in the pattern in certain places and then appear again the same way in the pattern on down, throughout time. So um, the same people are die and then are born again, and sometimes they're a little bit different. It says there are a lot of different weavings to the Wheel of Time, but eventually it always repeats itself. And the setups and payoffs that he is able to pull off in his narrative, um, through this world building and through the rules, the hard rules of the magic system, are just incredible. So it's world building, magic system, and then the story that he's able to create using those tools, is just awesome. It's so fun. I think not a weak spot, but I think a lot of people, when they're like, "Oh, it's my favorite book because of the characters," um, I don't think the characters are as strong as some people will say. I think that the characters that are strong are very strong, and that's great. But I think there's a little bit of a blurring. A lot of the characters act the same way, and so they're not really different characters in my mind. It's more like he's got a few clones of the same people working throughout, but it's not enough to like break the story or mess with the illusion. I think it's just me being a little bit hypercritical of it and outlining why I wouldn't say the characters are the greatest part of the story. I will say the character arcs, that the actual story is what's awesome about it and what I really like about it. But I don't know that it's the strength of the characters themselves that is so great. Um, so yeah, all that, and then nostalgia factor for me, I thought was really high with this one. So I didn't want to recommend it to anybody for a long time because I was thinking it was a lot better than it actually was. But upon talking to people who have read it recently, people who I respect a lot, people who are well read, they love it, and it's confirmed for me how great the series actually is. And so I would love if you would read even just the first book and tell me what you think. I do think it is. It did a lot for the genre. I think it brought modern fantasy, or sorry, it brought classic fantasy to the modern age. And then also, for me, it shaped a lot of the ways that I think, even ways that in ways that I didn't even understand until recently. Thoughts I have about sexuality and gender identity, and relationships, and even religion were influenced by this book. Not that it would influence you now, I don't think, in the same way. I think it would just be a good story. But Yeah, it's a good story, and I'd love to talk about it with someone a little bit, and especially with you because you wouldn't mind spoilers. So, um, yeah, that would be awesome. And so, whatever time you're willing to devote to it, that'd be great. If you don't want to, I totally understand. It is way too lengthy, and I don't know that I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend it even just for the size. Although I don't think that you have to read um, even half the series to really get a grasp on how great it is and some of the aspects of the world and the magic system in order to like understand that and have a great conversation about it. Yeah. Anyway, I tried a few takes of this video and I always ended up getting really tangential and kind of rambling, and I didn't want to do that. So anyway, I'd love to talk about it more in depth sometime or hang out and talk about it. So whatever works. And yeah, that's wanted to at least synthesize why I think it's so great. Thanks.